Seoul was a city of dreams, a city where billionaires ruled from glass towers, where luxury cars filled the streets, and where power belonged to the rich. But on a cold morning, one man sat alone on the sidewalk. His clothes were worn. His shoes were old. His face looked tired. People walked past him without even looking. Some laughed. Others avoided him completely. To everyone around him, he was just another homeless man. But what nobody knew was that behind those quiet eyes was a secret powerful enough to shake the entire country. His name was Min Jae, and 3 years earlier, he had disappeared without a trace. A disappearance that had nearly destroyed one of Korea's biggest business empires. As Min Jae lowered his head, a luxury car passed by. He didn't even look at it, because he knew something nobody else did. Soon, everything would change. If this is your first time here, you are welcome. Sit back, watch, and subscribe as we tell Korean African love and romance stories. Across the city, Tamara stood outside a luxury restaurant. Tears filled her eyes. The engagement ring in her hand felt heavier than ever. Just minutes earlier, she had discovered the truth. The man she loved had been cheating on her. For months, maybe even years. Everything she had sacrificed, everything she had believed, was a lie. Tamara closed her eyes. She had left Nigeria years ago chasing success. She worked harder than anyone, built a respected career, created a life for herself and soul. Yet somehow, she still felt alone. As she stared at the city skyline, she whispered softly, "Maybe love isn't meant for me." Little did she know, fate was already preparing an answer, and that answer was sitting alone on a sidewalk. The next afternoon, Tamara was walking home when something caught her attention. A man, sitting alone outside a convenience store. Most people ignored him. Some even looked down on him. But Tamara noticed something different. There was dignity in his silence, strength in his eyes. Something didn't fit. Their eyes met. For a brief moment, neither looked away. Tamara walked closer. "Have you eaten today?" she asked. Min Jae looked surprised. No. Without hesitation, she bought food and water. Min Jae accepted it quietly. "Thank you." His voice was calm, gentle, different from what she expected. Tamara smiled. "It isn't much." For the first time in a very long time. Min Jae smiled too, and neither of them realized it then. But that small act of kindness would change both of their lives forever. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Slowly, Tamara and Min Jae grew closer. She offered him a place to stay, just temporarily, or so she told herself. Min Jae slept on the couch, helped around the apartment, cooked meals, listened when she talked about her struggles, and somehow, being around him made her feel safe. One afternoon, they sat together drinking tea. Tamara looked at him curiously. "You never talk about your past." Min Jae smiled faintly. "Some stories are painful." Tamara nodded. She understood pain, but she could also feel something else. A mystery, a secret. Sometimes she would catch him staring at the city skyline, as if he once owned a piece of it, as if he had lost something valuable, something he still couldn't forget. And deep inside, she wanted to know why. If this is your first time, continue watching till the end to know what happened between Tamara and Min Jae. Meanwhile, inside Taeyong Group headquarters, tension filled the boardroom. Executives sat in complete silence. At the head of the table sat Seo Yuna. Beautiful, brilliant, dangerously ambitious. For 3 years she had waited. 3 years since the disappearance of the company's rightful heir. Min Jae. Most people believed he was dead. Others believed he had abandoned the company. But Seo Yuna knew better. Because if Min Jae ever returned, everything she had built could disappear overnight. An executive cleared his throat. "Chairwoman, we've received another report." The giant screen lit up. A photograph appeared. The image showed Min Jae from years ago. Young, powerful, confident. The future chairman of Taeyong Group. The room fell silent. Seo Yuna's expression darkened. Because deep down, she feared one thing more than anything else. That Min Jae was still alive and coming back. The next morning, Tamara woke up early. The apartment felt unusually quiet. The couch was empty. Min Jae was gone. Confused, she walked toward the window. Then she froze. Outside the building, 6 black luxury SUVs had arrived. Dozens of bodyguards stood in formation. And at the center of them all was Min Jae, the same man who had slept on her couch. The same man everyone believed was homeless. A bodyguard stepped forward, then bowed deeply. "Chairman Min Jae." Tamara's heart stopped. "Chairman?" Another bodyguard bowed. Then another. then another. The entire security team lowered their heads, treating him like royalty, treating him like one of the most powerful men in Korea. Tamara stared in disbelief. Nothing made sense anymore. Who was the man she had fallen for? And why had he lied? Hours later, Tamara sat inside a luxurious executive lounge overlooking Seoul. Her hands trembled. A giant screen displayed breaking news. Min Jae Kim, youngest billionaire chairman of Taeyang Group. Tamara couldn't breathe. 3 years. For 3 years she had lived with a man she thought had nothing. But the truth was unimaginable. He was worth billions. Owner of one of Korea's largest empires. The missing heir. The man the entire country had been searching for. Min Jae stood quietly nearby, wearing a tailored executive suit, looking every bit like the billionaire he truly was. Finally, Tamara looked at him. Tears filled her eyes. Why? Her voice cracked. Why did you lie to me? Min Jae lowered his head. Pain filled his eyes. Because when I lost everything, you were the first person who saw me as a human being. Silence filled the room. Tamara's heart shattered. She loved him, but she didn't know if she could trust him. And Min Jae knew something terrifying. The moment she learned the truth might be the moment he lost her forever.